So today's April 8th, 2024. It is Solar Eclipse Day. I have my Solar Eclipse glasses here, so I'll be able to check it out. I think around here it's going to be about 325 to 330 that we'll be able to see 90% coverage with the solar eclipse. So that's pretty cool. Today's a beautiful day. It's sort of really the first feeling of spring that we've had. Trees are blooming. As we look on the used car lot here, you can see that we're a little light on used cars again. Now, one of the things we've learned over the last maybe like decade and a half is that people shop less dealerships, right? It used to be they would go to like 3.8 dealerships before they actually bought a car. Now it's like they visit 1.3 dealerships before they buy a car. And it's mainly because of the internet, because people generally go where the car is that they want. They find it online. So let's say you were looking for a 2021 Chevrolet Custom Trail Boss with less than 25,000 miles on it. You may see this one here on AutoTrader, Cars.com, Carfax, Kelley Blue Book, or even our website, Schumacher Chevrolet of Livingston. Maybe you're looking for a 2021 Grand Cherokee Limited, all loaded out with a sunroof and leather interior. Or even though we're a Chevy lot, here's a 2022 Subaru Outback. This actually has higher mileage for the year, 47,000 miles. But based on the year, the mileage, the price, the equipment, that may be a perfect car and something you're looking for. And you can find it on the internet. There's really no limit to how far people will travel for a vehicle that they want. So for example, remember that blue Impala I had a couple of videos ago? Again, premier model, all the chrome trim, the sunroof, the big wheels, the leather. And they still had the original book, which also highlights the same exact car. I was actually working a customer on that car from South Carolina that was considering flying up to see it. However, before he can arrange all that, somebody drove up from Maryland and bought that car. Then we also had a white Jeep Grand Cherokee, which I actually helped Drew make a video about for his customer.
Most important is the low, very low miles, and that the car was taken care of.
And that customer actually flew up from North Carolina. We picked him up at Newark Airport, drove him over, they purchased the vehicle, and they drove it home back to North Carolina. But I think the best one recently, and this was last month in March, was a C7 Z06. So we had a C8 Z06 come in, customer bought it, they traded in a 2,000 mile manual transmission C7 Z06. Now, when that trade-in goes into our system and the customer takes the new car, the basic information we have about that vehicle gets populated directly to our website pretty much instantly, and then gets pushed out to AutoTrader, Cars.com, like all the websites that we're on. It gives you very generic info, you know, mileage. Sometimes we'll put a price. Sometimes if the price isn't assigned yet, it'll just say, please call. And it'll have one photo, which is just a car wrapped in a big orange blanket. Kind of like this BMW here that we have currently, this X7 that just got traded in last week. Now that Z06, I didn't even have time to take pictures of that car. The customer took delivery of the new C8 Monday night. The information went on the website. I'm off on Tuesday. I found out Wednesday when I came back in that Tuesday morning, 12 to 15 hours later, they had 3 calls on that car, and a gentleman came down from Syracuse, New York to purchase that car, the C7 Z06. So that thing didn't last long at all. I didn't even get a picture of the car. It was crazy. I have yet another example of this. This is a BMW X7 that we took in on trade on April 1st. So this car has been here, today's April 8th. It's been here 7 days, went through the shop, went through detail. A customer came in and purchased this from me on Saturday, and they were actually at a local BMW store to us looking at a couple of used X7s that they had. They weren't really happy with them. After they left, they went on their cell phone and just started scrolling through, and they found our internet ad, which had the orange cover over the vehicle, no photos, nothing like that, because we didn't get it pictured yet. Came down, took a look, test drove, and we were able to work out a deal, and they'll be picking this up on Wednesday. Very interesting when myself, as a Chevy salesman for 20 years, hops into something like this, which I'm very rarely in, and has to try to explain how things work to a customer. It really turns into like a learn as you go type situation, and as I see things, I point things out based on the questions they're asking. They had taken a nice test drive in it, a couple things they couldn't figure out, so we're gonna go over that sort of stuff on Wednesday when they pick it up, and I'm gonna spend some time probably later today or early Wednesday familiarizing myself with how all this works, because I want to be able to help them get the vehicle set up and help them be comfortable with it. They did have a friend here that was their neighbor and also insurance agent who seemed to know a lot about the car, so I'm sure they'll be able to help them out as well. But this is not the normal product that we sell. It's funny, when they came in, I talked to them about it, and I was like, this is actually the first time I ever sat in an X7 and drove one, which was just driving from behind our dealership up to the front. I could put my sold sign in it. The customer that traded this BMW in actually traded in on a new Tahoe. I guess they just needed more size or a bigger vehicle because obviously this is smaller than a Tahoe. It looks phenomenal. I mean, the paint job on the outside is like next to flawless for a black car. No swirl marks, nothing like that. There's two little imperfections in the rear bumper where maybe it was tapped or something like that. But otherwise, other than some rock chips in the front, which is pretty normal, the body on this thing is super clean, which is nice. It does have just over 41,000 miles on it, and the interior too is very clean. Like inside here, like there's no visible damage, scratches. Like they really took care of the car. Like it's a very nice vehicle, and I think my customer really recognized that when they were looking at it. The one thing that they don't like about the vehicle is actually the black wheels on the outside. They don't like that look, and they said had they seen pictures of the car online and it had the black wheels, they probably would not have drove over to see it. So it kind of lucked out for us that there was no photos on it, because my first thought was, well, listen, you can have wheels powder coated, you can replace wheels, like there's ways around that, you know, to make the vehicle more, you know, desirable for yourself. And the friend that was here with them that seemed to know a lot about the car was on the phone. He's getting quotes from people he knew, and they got a quote, I think, of about $1,200, and that was to do all four wheels and to fix the small little damage on the back. For $1,200, they're getting a really nice car, and they're going to customize it to exactly the way they want it. A few things I think are really cool and I like about the vehicle, you know, just as I'm going around and looking at, you know, buttons and knobs and things like that. Obviously, navigation on the center screen here, which is really nice. This does have a head-up display, which is hard to see, but it's right there in the windshield. You know, it's hard to see on camera. In person, it's very easy to see, which will have your speedometer and stuff like that. This screen is a full touch, so you can go through and you can press whatever, you know, items you want as a touch screen, or you have this wheel here where you could adjust, you know, your settings, and you can go through all your different menus with this. It's just basically left, right, up, down, left, right, up, down, spin, and press. So it's pretty intuitive, pretty easy to use. But like I've said in past videos, I'm always a fan of touchscreen. Just easier to use stuff when it's right there, you know, in front of you. Really cool feature, which I've never seen in a car before, or never took notice. Obviously, a lot of cars have dual zone climate, right? Where you can have driver, passenger, hot and cold being independent. I never saw or never took notice to actually having independent fan speed, both left and right. So driver's side, you can turn up or down, same as passenger. So I thought that was a cool little touch there. Again, all your buttons here laid out for climate and heated seats. You got some radio buttons along the bottom here. The radio system is actually really good. Let me see if I can pull up media. You also have a wireless charging pad up here that fits a Galaxy S23 is what I think I have. You have ride height adjustment, so you can bring the truck up or down depending on what kind of ground clearance you need. You got a quick touch button for a camera. You can press that button, bring your backup camera right up. Now that shows rear. Is there multiple angles? Activation points, camera image. No, it looks like it's only back, no front, no bird's eye. You have your different software programs for Sport, Comfort, Eco, Pro, or Adaptive. A super comfortable seat with all sorts of adjustments. Power shades for the back windows. The full panoramic sunroof. You have power second row seats, so I can slide this one back to give myself a little leg room. You also have controls for the shades here as well, so I can move down just mine. I can move the passenger one down, or you have a button for both. There's a bunch of USB ports back here. There's climate settings, and back here you get a fantastic view through that sunroof. Has a power feature here to slide to get into the third row. It's cool that it's power. It's kind of slow though. All right, we're gonna interrupt this video here. Apparently we have an E-Ray on the lot.
They built 168 of them so far, and this is number 168.
This is the 168th E-Ray.
Nice, man.
Dude, this is, look at those brakes.
Look at the color.
It's gotta be a Sioka car. What do you think?
It was.
Yeah. This is nice.
That's how you go to.
Wide body, just like the Z06. But again, you're gonna have with the E-Ray, the gas engine in the rear, the electric motors up front, making it the first all-wheel drive Corvette, which does 0 to 60 2.5 seconds. I think it's like a 10.5 quarter mile factory.
You're next, Dave.
I'm gonna get that orange one. Okay, we're back. That E-Ray showed up, so I took a look at that, and then I had a customer come in that was picking up a Chevrolet Tahoe. So we got her on the road. It was actually this 2024 LS trim. They picked that one up today and leased it, and they dropped off a 2018 trade-in with 101,000 miles on it. Now, back to the BMW. We were moving the seats forward and kind of seeing how all this works, you know, as a standpoint of folding. It looks like it's a lot of power. Of course, you do have emergency pulls, so you can do it manually if need be. I'm gonna hop in the back here. Like, I know I'm not gonna be able to fit, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Oh boy. Oh, cool. There's another sunroof up here. There's also some climate controls up here for the people in the third row. Now you can see, again, at my height, I'm 6'5". There's no way I'd be back here comfortably without these seats being in a completely different position. But this is not necessarily made for someone my size to be in the third row. But that is where we see the difference, where a lot of people will go from a BMW, a Mercedes, you know, they'll come from that brand and they'll go to a Chevy Tahoe or a Chevy Suburban. You know, it's a great vehicle and you get a lot more space. You know, BMW does not offer anything that's as big as a Tahoe or a Suburban. Especially when it comes to the space behind the third row, you know, there's not a lot of room back here at all for anything. You know, maybe a couple grocery bags, things like that, but you're not fitting a lot of luggage and what maybe 6 people would need to bring with them on a trip. You know, you just don't have the space back here. Of course, these seats do fold flat, and then you have a 5-passenger vehicle with some cargo room. You know, so depending on what you need, you know, it may or may not work. Again, the big thing is Tahoe and Suburban, you're just getting a tremendous amount more space for, you know, everything you may carry. Currently about 2:58 in the afternoon, and solar eclipse is kind of makes the sun look like a crescent moon, sort of. Pretty cool. One of the cool things about working at a dealership is you get to test drive all sorts of cool vehicles, which is what I'm going to do right now because I have to fill this with gas for Wednesday when the customer picks it up. So I'll just drive it over now, but I get to kind of feel it out and see what this 4-liter engine feels like and the ride quality, suspension. I'm gonna take it down that bumpy road right around the corner as I circle to get to the gas station. I'll take you along for the ride, and then we'll maybe end this video. Let's not risk it, let's back up. Oh, it does have a surround vision camera. I didn't notice that before. It also has a very torquey 4-liter engine. The steering feels very soft. I'm imagining it's probably some form of adaptive that it'll tighten up at speed. Just gonna run inside, get a gas card, get a plate, and then we'll go for a spin. One thing I never understood about BMW is the size of the screws they use. I dropped one. For license plates. Look at that. What is the point of this? First feel right now, steering's very soft, engine feels very torquey. I believe this is a 4-liter V6 with 335 horsepower. In this particular X7, it's sort of getting a little dim outside. I don't know if you could tell that on camera, but you know, with this Eclipse blocking out about half of the sun right now, it's giving a little more of like a brighter dusk appearance. Anyway, back to the BMW. This is the bumpy road, and it handles it great. It is to be expected, you know, it's a BMW, it's a high-end car, they have great suspensions. Check this out, the construction site that used to be our storage lot. They're building a lot of residential stuff in New Jersey. This will be a whole apartment complex right here in probably the next, I would imagine, year or so. That'll be finished. Has some good power, some good pickup. I think my customers are really going to like it. They were looking for X7s. They jokingly said that if there was an X7 within a 100-mile radius of where they lived, they saw it. Here's all the people checking out the Eclipse. Productivity is going to be way down for the next hour, I imagine, across the country as everyone's keeping an eye on this Eclipse opportunity that happens every number of years. I think the last one that was of significance like today was back in 2017. If I remember correctly. I was at the dealership that day. It was the same type of thing. We all had our glasses. We're all out there checking it out and talking about it and just being mesmerized by the world we live in and the universe and all the unknowns, the questions of, you know, who, what, when, where, why, how, right? Anyway, I know it's been about 25 days since my last video, and you know, I can kind of break it down of where I've been.